This week we say goodbye to the Grampians, gave ourselves our first beach day, and of course took in more wonderful sunsets as we made our way back through Victoria to catch the ferry to Tasmania. Continuing on from where we left you at Wannon Falls campsite, we woke up to a welcome guest, a pretty one, and one we would rather have done without. More of a clinger, really. After showing the latter the door, or off it rather, we head off, as promised, to visit the final couple of falls at the tail end of the Grampians, starting with the lovely butterfly-filled walk through the tall grass to Wannon Falls. A short drive and a walk later, we visited Negretta Falls. Then we were off on the rather laughable longest single drive of the trip so far, the 3-hour trip back to Anglesey. And what better way to celebrate our arrival than beers on the beach? We then head back to our first ever camp at Tanner Road Bend to enjoy dinner, a film, and another wonderful sunset.
Second day, the weather was expected to be quite nice and we thought we deserved a beach day. So we headed to Torquay Front Beach and walked a stretch of the beach before settling down to sunbathe. We relaxed and read before Oscar went for a dip. After this, we had lunch and then popped down the road for free hot showers. Our Lonely Planet book recommended a fish and chip shop, so we headed to Fisho's and Oscar discovered a new favourite called Blue Eye.
With time to spare and jobs to do, we decided to try and sort out the plug on the power cable for our fridge, which was no longer fitting snugly in the sockets. As it was still under warranty, we decided to make the hour or so journey to Ballarat to try and get it sorted. After the journey, we decided to treat ourselves to a delicious brunch from Fika before heading to the store. This is where a simple task got very complicated. So what ended up happening is the manager brought out a second cable, which looked the same as the first one that we'd bought, but had clearly had some of the casing on the end of the plug removed. At this point, when I was pulling out the new cable that the manager had given me, the uncased end of the plug just remained in the socket and shorted all our electrics for the back panel of the car, but knew enough that there was some aftermarket unmarked fuse somewhere in the car that had gone. So the hunt began, armed with a multimeter from the somewhat guilty manager, who had by now confirmed that the original problem was, as we had guessed, the plug fitting was not secure. I spent the next hour tracing the wire from the second battery all the way along the underside of the left hand of the car. It was at this point we were sort of running out of hope, so Holly started calling up car electricians because we needed this fixed, otherwise we had no power in the back to run our fridge for our food. The only spot that I hadn't checked was the wiring around the starter battery. This is where I came across a bundle of fuses, one of which was our guy, who had melted to the point that it really just fell apart as I removed it. So that got us back on track with a working fridge and ready to try and salvage what was left of our day of chores. Feeling a little defeated by the day, we decided to quickly do some laundry and grab some bits and pieces before heading back to camp. At camp, we were treated to a rather unexpectedly lovely sunset, so to end the day on a high, we scampered up the hill at the end of the camp to catch a glimpse. After what felt like a long day, we took it easy with evening prep and got some much-needed rest after an unexpectedly stressful day.
After appreciating the festive decorations within Ballarat, we refilled our gas bottle and then headed to Lake Gardens next to Lake Windermere for lunch. We admired the ducks and ducklings before heading to our next free camp in Winchelsea. It was a pretty camp next to raised train tracks. We were excited to see that the tracks were still in use, however this slowly became less of a novelty when we were trying to rest, and then the wildlife joined in.
After a lion from a noisy night's sleep, we head into Geelong to scope out where we'd be catching the ferry and figuring out what we could/couldn't bring into Tasmania. Again, we were reminded of the holiday season with the festive decorations, which only made us more excited for the Tasmania trip ahead. After packing up the last bits and pieces, we caught an early night ready for tomorrow. We woke up bright and early, ready to catch the ferry. We made it there just under 2 hours early to ensure that there was enough time to get through security, as there are very strict rules about what you can and can't take into Tasmania. Past security, we waited as best as a Brit can and got busy making the car a little more festive, taking in port life and admiring other people's setups. Unfortunately, the ferry was delayed, but time flew by and we soon found ourselves driving onto the ferry, packed in with the rest of our fellow travellers. Once on the Spirit of Tasmania 2.0, we made our way, by chance, to secure some good seats with a view off the back of the boat. After a few minutes, we got restless from all the sitting around and decided to start exploring our home for the next 10 hours. You had various lounges across the 11 floors, a 2-screen cinema, and various other activities on board. Off the left of the boat, there was ocean. To the right of the boat, there was more ocean. Highlights included around 5 hours in, seeing the Spirit of Tasmania 1.0. Then, of course, a few hours after that, the most incredible sunset. You can probably tell we had a lot of free time on our hands, but decided that procrastination via reading and playing on the Switch took priority over video editing, hence why this video is a little late out. After dark, we did eventually arrive in Tasmania and made our way off the boat to Sheffield, a throwback to the Yorkshire city where we first met, to catch some rest before our Tasmania journey could begin the following morning. Take 2, because we re-recorded this. Sorry, we recorded this and the audio was all broken. First thing to mention is we're going to change the episodes up a little bbit. So what we've been previously doing, scripting them is far more kind of efficient rather than just sitting in a tent and recording ourselves, just because it takes far too long to edit. Yeah, and we just don't really have the time at the moment, especially when we've had such a busy week like this week. On that note, though, I do want to apologise that this video is incredibly late, but we are getting it out now, and we do have signal, so it should come out today or tomorrow, whatever the time difference is.
But welcome to Tasmania. We are in Tasmania right now and have been for almost a week, but we'll give you more details about all of that in next week's video.
Episode.
This week's video.
Which should be this
whenever it comes out.
Yeah, we haven't started on that one yet, so that's well, you'll see how quickly we get the videos out. Anyway,
but last week's, well, the video you've just watched,
yes,
that was kind of an in-between week. There was some problems with the fridge,
nightmare problems with the fridge, but it got us closer to Pingu. I feel like we understand the car.
You definitely get Pingu a lot more.
Understand the car a lot more, which I'm grateful for in a weird way.
It was quite nice last week. We got to use some solar power this week. It's been cold and wet. We did have a couple nice days right at the beginning, actually.
Yeah, the beach day, but and the drive-through.
Last week, essentially, what I'm saying is I missed the weather we had last week that you'll have just watched. It was nice.
Yeah.
Anything else that we want to say?
I
wanted to mention the...
This is the second time we're recording this as well. Okay, go on, say.
I wanted to mention how expensive everything is in Ballarat. Just in case anybody happens to watch this that wants to go to Ballarat, if you're doing laundry, just do it before you get to Ballarat. It was like $25 to do a wash and a dry. We did use 2 washing machines, but it was just really expensive, and I just wanted to warn people. And the gas was expensive. So it's just a warning. Just
important things that we know that you guys will want to know about.
Really thought you guys should know.
So give it a thumbs up for the laundry, laundry highlights, the laundry forecast.
It's important.
Anyway, let's end this video because it's been a long day.
It's been a long week.
It's been a long week. Bye, guys. Look forward to... Well, just kidding.